Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel. I haven't made a video in, it's been 2 years.
2 years.
There has been a lot that's gone on. We've had this little baby, Amelia Capri, and so today we're going to be, I thought I would come back with her birth story. I just stopped making videos, honestly, because I was very worn out from it. I had been doing it for like 8 years. And I started nursing school, and it was just really hard to keep up with a new job, nursing school, marriage, and YouTube. Now, I've always wanted to make videos like with a family and do fun little like baby videos. And so I'm actually really excited to start making content. We'll see how it goes. I'm hopefully going to try to do like once a week, but I can't promise that since I'm starting a new job here in like 4 weeks. And so I'll be working 3 days of the week, but then with her the other days of the week. So I don't want to stress myself out too much with learning a new job because I just got my LPN, which is a nursing degree. I'll be learning how to be a nurse and be with my new baby and try to make videos. I just fed her, but she's always a hungry girl, right?
Say, I get chunky.
I have tons of videos planned, kind of all like newborn, baby related. We could do like fun couples videos together. Yeah, I'm just really excited. If you guys have specific things that you're wanting, let me know. I think the next video I'm going to post is going to be like a newborn essentials, but I thought the birth story would be kind of like a good way to start out this video. So we'll get started. And I brought Zach with me because during birth, like there's a lot of things that you don't really realize is happening, so I thought he could have like some good insight. Let's get started.
Let's do it.
Are you excited?
Oh, yeah.
Very excited for me.
I'm really glad that she's doing this again.
So I'm very excited to share my birth story because it was such like a redeeming like birth story opposed to my pregnancy. Pregnancy was not like super easy for me. I'm not like one of the girls that absolutely loves pregnancy like I thought I would. I was sick throughout like most of the pregnancy, obviously because of hormones at the beginning, but then I think a lot of it was like anxiety related and just thinking that I was like so used to throwing up every day that I still did.
Yeah, I mean literally it was like
literally until 37 weeks.
Yeah.
I threw up at least once a day.
Yeah.
It was not fun. And I even had fears like that I wouldn't, it's okay. She's hungry, girl. Daddy's gonna go get a bottle for her, because I didn't really want to nurse on video. It's a little difficult with this dress, is that right? You're a hungry girl. Yeah, so what I was saying, pregnancy was hard for me, and I even like had fears that I wouldn't bond with her because even when I was pregnant, like when she would kick, I would always hear everybody talking about how much they love that, but like for some reason, I liked it at first, but then I started to get like annoyed at her kicking, and I just felt like super disconnected, and it made me feel really guilty and upset. So I thought when she would be born, I wouldn't like feel like connected to her, but instantly, like actually like as soon as I was in labor, like I was like, just like felt so ready. Are you crying?
No. You're crying.
Your eyes are watering. I'm not crying
I'm
at
not
all.
crying.
Like as soon as I held her, like I knew she was my baby. Like I just loved her. So that's a little background of like pregnancy, and then we want to give a little backstory of like before the actual delivery, because it didn't go as I had intended or planned, but it went like so perfectly. It's just a little bit different than I had planned, more so like the location, which we'll get into, but the actual birth was all that I could have like dreamed or imagined. So I had originally planned on delivering at a birth center, which, if you don't know what a birth center is, it gives you the experience of a home birth, but you're still in like a medical facility, like with midwives and nurses. And then the particular birth center that I would have been delivering at, there was a hospital literally right across the street. So in case of emergency, you can quickly just be transferred over. And I actually work at the OBGYN associated with the birth center, and I am like a birth center tech, so I help with the birth. So I had been to many births, so I was super familiar with it and just really excited to hopefully deliver at the birth center. Also at the birth center, like it's an all-natural birth. You don't have any option of epidural, so you're gonna be doing a natural birth there, which what I wanted. I wanted to do a natural birth, not like any particular reason. I know a lot of people say if you are going to do natural, you need to have your why. And I did have my why. It just wasn't like, oh, I'm scared of an epidural. I also wasn't somebody that was super against interventions at all. I had always imagined myself doing a natural birth, particularly because my mom gave birth to me and my brother at a birthing center, and so I would hear her talk about that. And then also, I always watched like the TLC show, A Birthing Story. I think it's called A Birth Story. and most of those are like natural births. So I developed a love for the birth process at a really young age, and so I was always excited to give birth, and I just imagined it doing it. I like to say unmedicated because I think all births are natural, but unmedicated is kind of the way that I kind of imagine myself doing it. So my entire pregnancy was very healthy. I didn't have any complications. The only hard thing was like my mental state and like vomiting, but other than that I was healthy. Amelia was healthy. Everything was good, so nothing was gonna like risk me out of the birth center, because to deliver at the birth center you need to have a healthy baby and a healthy mom. So throughout most of my pregnancy everything was healthy and smooth sailing, all throughout my pregnancy.
So then your mom came on like the 27th. She came for your birthday, basically to help get like the room finalized.
And then the next day, it was a Saturday, and my mom was still there, and I noticed like how swollen my hands were getting and my ankles. Oh my gosh, I'm so swollen, Mom. And she's like, have you like checked your blood pressure? And I was like, no, I mean I can. So I got like my manual blood pressure cuff out and started like pumping it up. As soon as I like let go of the cuff, I like started hearing like didn't, which means my blood pressure was at like 150. And then it stopped really quickly. So my blood pressure was like 150 over 100 or something like that. Like super not good. Really
normal
high.
Is like 120 over 80.
Yeah, and mine's usually lower than that too. So I was like, oh shoot. So I texted my midwife, and she told me to just like rest the rest of the day, monitor it, and then check again in the morning and let her know what it is. And so it was a Sunday. He had left early to go to church because he was doing the sermon that day, and then I was just chilling at home, took my blood pressure. It was not as high as the day before, so I was like relieved about that, but it was still not in the normal range. I texted her my blood pressure, and then she called me, and so I answered the phone, and she was like, yeah, so those are still high. We're not liking it in that range. So we're gonna need you to go to the hospital to get your blood pressure checked there and get any labs to make sure you don't have preeclampsia. I said, okay, we'll go to the hospital. My husband's doing the sermon, so we'll just go right after lunch. She's like, no, you need to go now. And I just started sobbing because I didn't have my bags packed.
Yeah.
I didn't know, there was no backup plan. Like nobody else knew the sermon.
So then you called me, like literally we were in the prayer circle at church, and you called me saying like we have to go to the hospital. And I think I just started sobbing.
No, you didn't.
No, after I got off the phone with you, like I started crying, and like the whole prayer team came around, like just
You
prayed.
started crying?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Long story short, we went to the hospital. When I got there, my blood pressure was normal, labs were normal, and I was like, wow, am I crazy? But then I was also like relieved.
Yeah.
So that was a Sunday. So I knew I had my 38-week appointment on a Wednesday, so I was just chilling, still working. And so I went into my appointment on Wednesday. One of the medical assistants took my blood pressure, and it was like elevated, but not as high as it was before, so I didn't think anything of it. Becca walks in the room, and she's like, so we're gonna officially diagnose you with gestational hypertension. So that means you're gonna need to be induced within the next couple days. And I was like, okay. And I was like fine with it, because like I just really feel like God had already prepared like my heart and mind to be induced, not deliver at the birth center.
We had this moment in the hospital on Sunday where it was like before we knew like the results of everything, like we were like, you know what, like if this is what it's gonna be, like we planned on a birth center, but if it's gonna be a hospital birth, like that's okay because God's in control. So it was kind of like a nice little blessing that we had this like going to the hospital first, because then when we were actually told like, okay, now you're have to go to the hospital,
delivering at the hospital,
like we were like, okay, cool, we had our minor like disappointment, and now we're good with it.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, when are we gonna do it? And she was like, we're thinking tomorrow. And I was like, okay. And then she left the room to talk to the surgery scheduler who like schedules the inductions. And she came in and she was like, we're actually gonna schedule you for tonight. So I called Zach. I was like, what did I say?
You
were
like, you're gonna meet your daughter tonight, I think was what it was.
I said, no, not tonight. I said, you're gonna meet your baby soon.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
I was like, okay, let's go. Let's do it.
We got everything ready, went to the hospital that night, and started the induction process. We got admitted at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday, so that was September 1st.
Yeah, we had our friends meet us at the hospital and pray for us like beforehand.
And that was really nice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So I obviously did have to be induced since I was only 38 weeks pregnant. I was dilated like maybe a centimeter, like hardly at all. My body hadn't like started really to prepare much for labor. So they told me that they were going to do Sinotech throughout the night, which is like softens your cervix. So they gave me 4 doses of that throughout the night. They also gave me a sleeping pill, so I would like sleep well during that night.
She slept the whole night long. Like
I don't even remember them coming in and giving me like the 2 doses in the night.
Yeah, like the nurse came in, or you woke up in the morning, you're like, did they give me the extra doses? Like, yeah, they came in at like 4 a.m. You're like, seriously, I don't remember anything. I was like, yeah, you were out.
Yeah, I don't know how they got me to swallow that.
Our nurses were amazing too. Like, they're the best.
So amazing. So then by 10 a.m. they were able to start the Pitocin, and I went into the induction process knowing that I would have to be on Pitocin, and I had heard horror stories of Pitocin and how unnatural it makes your contractions feel and like so unbearably painful. So I went into the hospital thinking that I was going to get an epidural because I was like, why am I going to put myself through a natural birth when I'm having unnatural contractions? Like, it just didn't make sense to me. I had planned on, I was open to the idea of epidural, and I wasn't going to beat myself up about it. Like, I was like, anybody on Pitocin, if they can't deal with it, yeah, get an epidural. I was very confident that that's what was going to happen, but it did not, which was crazy.
Yeah. The first couple hours, like,
I was contracting by myself.
Yeah.
With just the Pitocin, and I'm not sure exactly what I had gotten dilated to.
It wasn't much.
Yeah. And like, I could feel the contractions. They were consistent, happening like the same amount of time apart, but they weren't really hurting at all. And I was like, this is so weird. I was really discouraged that my body like wasn't doing what it was supposed to, because I was like, this should be hurting really bad. And like, I could feel the contraction. I knew it was happening. I could see it on the monitor, but it just felt like a tightening. Like, it wasn't pain. Like, it was less than a period cramp, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird, like, because you, like, I'm over here expecting you to be in pain the whole time and like leaning on me or like doing all these different things we learned in the birth class, and like, you're just chilling. So
this was early labor though.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Pitocin was started at 10, and then by 2 o'clock, so 4 hours later, I had gotten a cervix check, and I was 2 centimeters dilated and contracting every 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's consistent, but I wasn't like, my cervix had not dilated that much. So the midwife offered to do a Foley balloon, which I was okay with doing interventions, whatever I could do to like progress the labor, and I felt like I could handle it. So the Foley balloon is like placed in your cervix, and they inflate it with saline, and it helps dilate your cervix within a few hours. So it'll get you to like either 4 or 5 centimeters, and then the balloon will fall out. So she placed that. The procedure was fine. I've heard people say that it's really painful, but I tolerated it fine. No, the procedure I tolerated fine.
Yeah. Oh, dad life. Whatever.
After the Foley balloon procedure was done, after I stood up, like immediately I started to feel really intense contractions for the first time. They were the kind where I was like, I had to lean on Zach. I was like, Zach, and I was like leaning on him, and it like I had to actually breathe through these. But it was like crazy because I got excited about it, even though it was hurting. I was like not scared. Like, I was like, let's get this started. Like, it was good to feel something because I knew that my body was doing what it was supposed to be doing. But like, it was very painful, so I was like, I need to come up with some other, what's the word, pain relief measures to help myself like cope with the pain. So I wanted to get in the shower because I couldn't get in the tub with the continuous monitoring. So I got in the shower with the birth ball, just kind of sat on that, and had you and my mom alternate like between spraying the hot water on my back for like literally 2 hours.
Yeah.
I was in there, and the nurse kept coming in, and I was still in there, and I felt like guilty for like wasting the water, but I was like,
hey, if that
I don't care.
worked,
This like, I'm handling this well.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna keep doing this because it was working. So after I got out of the shower from laboring there, my Foley wouldn't come out yet. Like, I still had not dilated all the way, so I decided that I wanted to start like walking some laps around the unit because I knew like the pressure of me walking would help like dilate my cervix. So I just like took laps for I don't know how long, maybe like 20 minutes. It wasn't too long. And then I got back to the room at like 4:50. I know it's because I have it on my phone. I took notes after. And I like yanked on it, and it came out at 4:50. I was so excited because I placed it at 2. Yeah, so like almost 3 hours later, it was good to come out. And then they wanted to try other things, so they had me like lay in the bed with the peanut ball. I hated the peanut ball. Some people love it, but I was not comfortable. Like, I was the kind of laboring mom that wanted to be moving. I didn't want to be laying in a bed with a ball between my legs. Like, I just didn't know how that was going to progress me.
Yeah, it didn't work at all.
I mean, I didn't give it any chance to work.
Yeah.
I was barely there.
I think that was the point where I fell asleep.
Really?
I
think I was trying to rest at that point.
Yeah,
but I wasn't even really
down
tired. Like, I was just like, I want to get this party started. Like, I don't want to be laying here.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what happened. I think I just continued to like take laps around the unit. That was pretty much it. And so then at, I think it was around 7 or maybe 8, the midwife came in and she was like, "It's still too happy in here." Like, I was like smiling. Yeah, I was like, I'm not sure why. Like, I hope stuff's really happening. She's like, "Oh, I'm sure it is. Do you want me to check?" And I was like, "Yeah." So she checked and she was like, I don't know what I was at.
You're at 7.
7?
Yeah.
And then she asked if she wanted me to break my water. And I was like, yes, because I knew that that would really get us started.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wasn't nervous. I wasn't nervous. I was excited, but I was like, this is like, it's about to go down.
Yeah.
So as soon as she broke my water, that gush of the warm fluid came out.
That was honestly really cool. I
Really?
didn't expect to watch that,
You
but
did?
I watched it and I was like, okay, this is not as like gross as I thought it would be. But then I think we then like filled the bath up a little bit.
Yes, because after she broke my water, I was right. It did start to pick up, and there was like all of a sudden the pressure of her head was right on my cervix. So I started to have like contractions that were definitely painful, coming like very quickly, like 2 minutes apart. They were lasting like a minute long, but I feel like I haven't talked much about how I got through contractions without much pain. And everybody's birth story is different, and it's okay if your contractions are painful. Mine could have just been like a freak thing, but I think a big thing was like my mindset, the fact that I was really excited about birth, which I know a lot of people are, but I was like, I was not afraid of the contractions, I wasn't afraid of the pain. Like, I knew that they made my body progress like they were supposed to, and so I was excited when they would come. Even though they hurt, I just knew like there's gonna be a break, and so I knew that this was a minute long, pretty much. I would just lean forward, breathe through it, and then once they would stop, it was like literally like I was living a normal day. And
you had your mom and I both in there like encouraging like, yeah, hey, you're halfway there, because we could see like the peak on the monitor. Like, you're halfway there, it's coming down, okay,
yeah.
You're good.
So I would just breathe through it.
Yeah.
I think I'll insert some clips. We don't have like the full thing recorded, but we have me towards the end contracting, and then also like her actual birth. So I'll try to insert that so you can kind of feel like you're there.
So you labored in the tub for a little bit. So I labored in the tub,
like I was on my knees because I couldn't be fully submerged. So I was just on my knees, and I would like lean forward during the contraction. And at that point also I started to get like, all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel very nauseous. This was like, oh my gosh, like it was coming. So I was like, somebody get me something. So I threw up. The nurse in the room had called the midwife and told her like she's starting to get sick. So that's like a sign that like you're in transitional labor, which means from like 8 to 10 centimeters, which is like the hardest part of labor, when it's the most painful. And when you start to get like nauseous, that's a sign that the baby's about to be here. So then I got out of the tub, was probably in there for like maybe an hour. Then I got out, and then I started like leaning forward no, I wasn't even leaning on you. I was just like trying to like lean on the bed. And then we got the bed in this position, like the hospital bed where you like break it down. So the bottom half was like really low, and then there was like, we raised up the other half. So my knees were on this bottom half, and then we had pillows stacked on the top part. And I would just like lean forward with my arms on the top part and my knees on the bottom. So I just leaned through that for the contractions, and it was like the most comfortable to me. Everything else was so uncomfortable. Like, I did not want to stand. And at times, yes, my knees did get uncomfortable on there. So I remembered like seeing that in the video, that I was like, my knees are so uncomfortable. But nothing else like felt good. Is there anything, I feel like I'm remembering all of this.
No, you're doing really good. Like, there wasn't, like at that point I think it was, you pretty much went into,
I feel like very coherent to what happened in the birth.
Yeah. Yeah, you've remembered everything thus far. Oh,
and then like I didn't all of a sudden have this sudden urge to push, but I guess my midwife knew that it was time, because she was like, how about you try to push a little bit, Emma? And I was like, I was like, okay. I didn't have like this overwhelming urge to do it, so I just didn't think I was ready. But I started trying to push, and then all of a sudden like I could just feel like her head like make its way down. Like,
yeah.
All of a sudden like those pushing instincts came in.
Push closer.
I think I'm gonna poop.
No, you're just having your baby.
And then I remember saying that I was pooping, and I know that that's a thing that people say that they feel when the baby's head's like coming down the birth canal, but I was like, no, like, I even knew that was a thing, and I was, this is poop, like I am pooping right now, and they're like, no, that's your baby. I was like, no, I'm pooping. I was pushing in the same position that I was contracting in, so I was like on my knees leaning forward. Pushing part is what ended up being like the most painful for me, and I know a lot of people are like relieved by the pushing, and it was exciting to do, but like don't get me wrong, it really did. It does hurt.
She's coming, Emma. She's coming. Can you feel her?
I don't know. Yeah, I think so. I expected hairier.
Oh, she's almost here, Emma.
You got this, baby. Yeah.
But like I don't really remember exactly now what it felt like. Like I wish I did, but I'm also glad I don't.
Yeah. But it only lasted like 11 minutes.
Yeah, I pushed for 11 minutes, and then the last like 2 pushes are what were like painful. Like I felt like I was actually starting to lose control as her head was crowning.
Okay.
It burns, Ryan.
Yeah, that's what.
Oh, I don't want to suck her back. I remember screaming like, it burns.
Yeah.
Because I think I was so relieved.
And then she was like, no, she came out a little bit, and you're like, I don't want to suck her back in.
Yeah, because I was like pushing so hard and I was running out of breath. And I was like, I feel like I can't even breathe. I don't know how I can keep running out of breath.
Take a deep breath. Breathe through your nose. Out through your mouth.
Oh, and then when she was actually born, when her head popped out, I screamed. I was like, ah!
You got it.
Press down, Emma. You got this.
Oh, there I go.
Yes, baby.
You got this, Emma. You're making.
After 12 hours of labor, 11 minutes of pushing, at 9:54, this little sweetie was born. And it was like so amazing. I remember I just like felt her come out, like her shoulders fully come out, and I like turned around because I was on my knees, and then the midwife was like, watch your cord.
Yeah. Because
I almost like my legs almost got caught on the cord.
Yeah.
And so then I like quickly like moved my leg over and like grabbed her and put her on my chest.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna try and lay her down.
So yes, all that to say, the birth was not exactly how I had originally envisioned it, but it kind of was how I envisioned it.
Yeah.
Like it was, you can't envision your birth perfectly, and it was all that like I could have imagined.
Yeah, it was
or
perfect.
asked for. Yeah, and it ended up being amazing that I was at the hospital, especially as being like first time parents. We got all like the training and the classes.
I mean, like
all the free postpartum stuff.
Yeah, I would say like the next 2 days were what made it so worth it. Like I feel like the birth process
it was like
itself,
the same.
like would have been the same wherever we were, but I think it was like the fact that like the next couple of days we had like nurses checking on us and helping us with certain things, like helping her try to latch and feed because she wouldn't like take to the boob at first.
Yeah,
so, like, we
because
had to
she
do,
was like early.
Yeah, so we had to do donor milk.
Which was a really nice like offer that they gave. Yeah. And
then even like we got to meet like our doctor and
for rounding.
Yeah, and it was just such a good experience.
And
like
the food,
post-birth.
like to be able to just get food, and the food was actually good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was, you know, if like I feel like for me at least, like I wanted to do natural birth, like at the birth center, just because like you working there and like me knowing the story and everything. But like now I'm like, yeah, that was exactly where we needed to be. It was what was right for us. And if that's what we do again next time, like...
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's starting to get a little bit dark in here, so we'll close it up. But I really hope you guys enjoyed Amelia's birth story. And just be encouraged that if your birth doesn't go exactly how you envisioned it, to just make the best of it and know that God has a perfect plan for it.
Yeah.
And your birth is going to be exactly how He planned it. So,
yeah.
It really was perfect. Be encouraged and let me know what videos you would like to see from me. And if you have any questions about the birth or anything that I left out, just leave a comment down below and I'll definitely reply to that because I would love to give any advice or encouragement. Yeah. So yeah, let's see if Amelia wants to say
Get
bye.
her in. Blair's at the door crying. She wants to come say goodbye too.
Hey baby.
Come here, Blair. Up. Blair, up. Up.
Here's little Amelia says bye.
Give her a kiss, Blair. Give her a kiss. Good girl.
Here we go.
Good girl.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Amelia says bye. Bye-bye. Bye there. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
See you guys.